Ukraine has struck 3 Russian drilling platforms belonging to Lukoil, one of Russia's largest oil producers in the Caspian Sea. Russia uses the platforms for oil and gas extraction. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, Ukrainian forces hit the Vladimir Filanovsky, Yuri Korchagin and Valery Graifir platforms on Sunday. Footage released by Ukraine's Special Operations Forces shows details of the alleged attack. Oil and gas exports cover a major part of Russia's federal budget. They also play a key role in sustaining Russia's war effort in Ukraine.
January 11th, the Caspian Sea, deep inside the Russian interior. For 300 years, these waters were considered a Russian lake, a sanctuary, 1,000 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian trench, safe from artillery, untouchable by HIMARS, ignored by Western satellites. The Kremlin calls this the strategic rear. The energy giants call it the cash machine. But at 2014 a.m., that definition changed forever. A bright flash on the horizon, followed by a shockwave that rattled windows in coastal towns 40 kilometers away. By sunrise, Russia wasn't counting barrels of oil. It was counting the cost of an illusion. The flagship of Russia's energy dominance wasn't pumping crude. It was burning. Moscow didn't just lose a drilling platform tonight. They lost the last safe place on the map. Like, subscribe, and stay with us for the full breakdown. 2 a.m., the Vladimir Filanovsky field is operating under routine conditions. This is not just an oil rig, it is an industrial fortress, an ice-resistant fixed platform, or LSP-1, weighing over 15,000 tons. It sits 190 kilometers off the coast of Astrakhan, a steel island in the middle of nowhere. To the Russian Ministry of Defense, this location is statistically safe. The mathematics of war say it shouldn't be a target. It is too far, it is too isolated, and it is protected by the Caspian Flotilla. For 2 years, Russia has used this specific patch of sea as a launch pad. Missile ships like the Dagestan sit here, firing Kalibra cruise missiles into Ukraine, knowing they are ghost ships too far away to be hit back. They treat the Caspian like a shooting gallery. They assumed the distance was a shield. They assumed the sheer logistical nightmare of crossing 1,000 kilometers of hostile airspace was impossible. Tonight, that assumption collapses. Defending this sector is the Southern Military District's air defense grid. On paper, it is impenetrable. The coast is lined with Podsanuk E over-the-horizon radars, capable of seeing targets 450 kilometers away. The port of Kaspiysk is guarded by 400 battalions. But these systems are built on a specific doctrine: high altitude, high speed. They are looking for NATO jets. They are looking for ballistic missiles. They are tuned to see metal moving at Mach 1. They are not tuned for canvas, plastic, and silence. At 2005 a.m., the radar screens in the Astrakhan Command Center are clear. No red dots. No alerts. The operators are on the graveyard shift, watching a green line that hasn't moved in months. They believe the sky is empty. It isn't. 3 hours earlier, 11:00 p.m., somewhere in the gray zone, the weapon of choice is not a $1 million missile. It is a modified A-22 Foxbat, a civilian ultralight plane, stripped of its pilot, stripped of its seats, and converted into a long-range suicide drone. The engineering is crude, but brilliant. The cockpit is packed with extra fuel bladders. The payload is 300 kilograms of high-explosive fragmentation charges. It doesn't fly like a military jet. It flies like a ghost. Cruising speed, 130 kilometers per hour. Altitude, 40 meters. It enters Russian airspace not by overpowering the defenses, but by sliding underneath them. It hopes the terrain of the Volga River basin, using the noise of the water and the folds of the earth to mask its acoustic signature. To a Doppler radar, it looks like a flock of birds. To a thermal camera, its small engine blends into the background heat of the industrial river towns. For 7 hours, this drone navigates a gauntlet of sensors. It passes Volgograd. It passes the rear guard air bases. It flies through the exact gaps in coverage that Russian planners said didn't exist. This is not a strike based on speed. It is a strike based on patience. 2:10 a.m., the drone reaches the coast. The terrain changes from land to water. The onboard flight computer shifts logic. It drops altitude, skimming just 15 meters above the black waves of the Caspian. At this height, the sea clutter effect takes over. The radar waves from the Russian corvettes bounce off the choppy water, creating a wall of static. The drone hides inside that static. The buoyant M-class corvettes patrolling nearby have some of the most advanced sensors in the Russian Navy. But tonight, they are blind. Their radars are looking up, scanning the horizon at 10,000 feet. The threat is right under their nose. On the horizon, the Filanovsky platform glows like a city. It is lit up for night operations, a massive, stationary target radiating heat and light. The drone doesn't need complex terminal guidance now. It just needs to not miss. The optical sensors lock on. The target isn't the derrick. The target is the central processing platform, the specific module where raw crude is separated from natural gas. It is the most volatile point on the entire structure. A pressurized bomb waiting for a spark. 2014 AM. Impact. The A-22 slams into the separation unit at full speed. There is no warning siren, no tracer fire. Just sudden, catastrophic kinetic energy. 300 kilograms of explosives detonate instantly, but the bomb is just the match. The gas inside the processing plant is the gasoline. A fireball erupts, reaching 120 meters into the night sky. The blast wave warps the reinforced steel legs of the platform. Secondary explosions begin as pressurized gas lines rupture. Temperatures inside the module spike to 1800 degrees Celsius. Steel doesn't just bend, it liquefies. From the shore 190 kilometers away, fishermen see the horizon turn orange. Inside the Russian command center in Astrakhan, the telemetry feeds from the rig simply stop. Not an error code, just silence. Confusion reigns. Is it an accident? Did a valve burst? Is it a gas leak? It takes command 22 minutes to realize they are under attack. By then, the drone is gone, the evidence is vaporized, and the fire is out of control. The airspace around the Caspian turns chaotic. Two Su-30 fighter jets scramble from an airbase in the Astrakhan region. They hit afterburners, screaming toward the sea to intercept a target that no longer exists. Their radars sweep the sky, desperate to find a second wave. They find nothing. The Dagestan missile ship activates its fire control radar, spinning its turrets, looking for a threat. But you cannot shoot what you cannot see. The panic isn't about the damage, it's about the unknown. Russian operators are asking the impossible question: how? How did a slow, loud, propeller-driven plane fly 1,100 kilometers through the deepest layer of Russian air defense without triggering a single missile launch? The answer is terrifying. The system failed. The S-400 failed. The doctrine failed. The psychological impact is immediate. The secure communications channels light up with one message: the rear area is gone. By 5:00 AM, the fire is contained, but the economic bleeding has just begun. Let's do the brutal math. Total cost of the Ukrainian attack drone, approximately $90,000. Cost of the Filanovsky central processing platform, $1.2 billion. But the damage to the metal is the cheap part. The rig is now offline. Daily production of 16,000 tons of oil. Stopped. Every day this platform sits silent. Lukoil loses $8 million in revenue. But look deeper. Global maritime insurance firms are watching. By 9 AM, risk assessors in London and Geneva are redrawing the maps. The Caspian Sea is no longer classified as a safe zone. It is a war risk zone. Shipping premiums for Russian tankers operating in the Caspian skyrocket by 400%. Captains refuse to dock. Cargoes are delayed. The logistical chain that moves oil from the Caspian to the Volga and out to the world grinds to a halt. Ukraine didn't just blow up a piece of equipment. They levied a tax on the entire Russian energy sector. The fallout continues over the next 72 hours. Satellite imagery confirms the damage. But the satellite imagery also confirms something else: movement. The Russian high command is forced to make a choice. They have to pull air defense assets back. S-300 and Pantsir systems that were destined for the front lines in Donetsk and Zaporizhia are suddenly rerouted. They are being sent 1,000 kilometers back to the rear to guard oil rigs and refineries. This is the true victory. It's called forced dispersion. Every Pantsir system sitting on a barge in the Caspian Sea is one less Pantsir shooting at Ukrainian troops on the front line. Ukraine stretched the Russian shield until it snapped. The Caspian flotilla, which felt invincible launching missiles from the water, is now hugging the coast, hiding under the shore-based batteries. Their operational freedom is gone. They are no longer hunters. They are the hunted. What we witnessed on January 11th was not just an explosion. It was the death of a doctrine. In modern war, there is no such thing as a safe distance. Whether you are a soldier in a trench or an oil executive on a rig 1,000 kilometers away, you are in the battle space. Ukraine has proven that with enough ingenuity, cheap technology can defeat expensive geography. The A-22 Foxbat, a plane you can buy for the price of a luxury car, just humiliated a defense grid worth billions. The Caspian Sea is burning. And for the Kremlin, the smoke signals are clear. Nowhere is safe. The walls have been breached, and the next strike could come from anywhere. This was not just a message, it was a promise. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think this strike forces Russia to pull significant air defenses out of Ukraine, or will they leave their energy sector exposed? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to understand the war beneath the headlines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Stay sharp.